Welcome to this episode of What's Happening in Waupaca. I am Joni Kern. Today we are talking with Steve Petznick and Paul Schroed from the Fox Valley Technical College. It's spring extravaganza time.
Yes.
Which is always fun. Going into spring, we have all of these projects, all of these things that we want to do. So, Steve, we're going to start with you because we're going to talk about 3 of the classes over here. And these are actually classes we didn't talk about last year, so this is kind of fun.
Right.
So let's start with all of these wonderful tools that are dangerous for people like me.
Well, these are just some of the tools that people commonly have in their the garages or in their homes. And these will all work fine for cutting and pruning plants. The thing is to know what to do. And so when it comes to pruning class or pruning trees, there's kind of a science and there's an art. And during the class at Spring Extravaganza, they're going to be learning the science of it. And then they have to go home and over time they're going to learn the art of it. So they know what to do, but then it's a matter of making it look good when they're done.
Okay, so you're telling me that I can't go out whenever I want and just cut back whatever plants that I have?
You can, they're your plants. But if you want them to survive and be healthy, then you really need to do it at a certain time of year, and spring is a perfect time. But knowing where to cut them, and these different tools do different things. And we'll be learning about that during the class. When is it appropriate to use one of these tools versus one of these other ones? So there are reasons for having so many different things.
And I actually have, the one thing that I don't have is this little saw. I have one of everything else because I do a lot of pruning on the trails and all of that kind of, I probably don't do it at the time of year or with any art, but I do that. So this is kind of nice because we all have all of these gardens and these plants, and we have been afraid of pruning them because we don't want to kill them. So this class is going to teach us how to do it and keep them looking good and being healthy.
Keep them healthy, keep them growing in the right directions. A lot of it will be giving people confidence. Because they'll go, I've taught pruning classes for over 20 years, and people, when they're done, they go, I didn't know that. And they feel like, I can go home and I can do this now. And
exactly.
So that's what we're trying to do, instill confidence that they can do it right, and that's going to improve the health of the plant. Perfect.
The next thing that we're going to talk about with you is bird identification. So robins.
Robins, okay, good start. American robins.
Crows.
Crows, another good start. Cardinals. Yeah.
But when it comes to something other than those and wrens, I'm absolutely lost. Everything is just very pretty.
Yep.
So what are you going to teach me at this class?
Well, in the bird watching class, teaching you what to look for in terms of field marks, what field marks are. And so once you start to learn what that search image looks like, what are wing bars, what are eye rings, what did you look at the color of the feet, what color was the beak? All of those things help you to, if you don't know what the bird is, you can take all this new knowledge and be able to look in a field guide and go, oh, this one's got pink beak and pink legs and it's got wing bars, and oh, it's a field sparrow. So teaching people how to look at the bird so that way they can go home and learn how to use their field guide properly.
And we all like to look at the birds, but there's not a whole lot of people. I mean, my friends will say, did you see that field sparrow? And I'll go, I don't know. It's just something that I've just never taken the time to learn all about, but it would be nice to be able to identify some of these absolutely gorgeous birds that I have in my yard.
Sure.
So that's a great class. It just gets us into a beginning because Spring Extravaganza is just one day, right? So we choose where we want to go. And then, Steve, we're going to talk about telescopes.
Well, telescopes with the summer skies. In previous years of Spring Extravaganza, we've talked about the spring skies. And so I thought, you know what, let's push the envelope, let's talk about the summer now. And one of the things that I really want to talk about this year is what to look for in telescopes. When people go out and they buy a telescope for their son or daughter, Christmas present, whatever, and they get home and they unbox it, and then it's like, okay, now what? What do we do with it, and how come it doesn't work?
Sure.
Well, so what I'm going to be doing is talking about how to avoid some of the pitfalls And the biggest thing is don't buy anything at a discount store, the big stores, because it's not going to give you the quality. And most people, the reason they give them up is because they get disappointed in what they're not seeing.
Sure.
And so we'll be talking about some of that stuff during the class.
Sure. And this one, this prop you actually have is broken.
Yes, it doesn't it look nice?
It looks beautiful. It looks like I should be able to see all the stars I want to see.
Yeah, and it doesn't work at all. It's just terrible. And somebody gave this one to me and they thought, oh, Steve could use it. And I looked at it, it's like, it's broken. How can I possibly use it when it doesn't focus at all. How can I?
And we are all, and I'm great. Where can I find a bargain? How can I do what I want to do on a more economical budget? There are some things that we really need to be willing to buy the quality, and it's sounding like this. So you're going to talk about that, and then you're going to teach me which stars are which in the sky.
Yes, and a lot of it, the constellations, because the constellations are your roadmap in the sky. When you start to learn your constellations, then you can start looking for those things that are out in space. You don't have it's hard to find them if you don't know where to start looking.
It's hard to find the constellations.
Yes, and there'll be a lot of time spent on summer constellations, so that way hopefully people can go home and then they go, oh, that's that and that's that, and because you really need to know where those are in order to take that next step to really enjoy things that are out in space.
And it's a fun class. They're short classes, so I'm not investing a ton of time. And we all look at the sky and we all look at the stars. And I don't know how many of us can recognize anything beyond the Big Dipper.
Oh,
Or is that
Orion's
just
my favorite. I always look for Orion.
There we go, Orion.
So these are terrific classes. They're family friendly, correct? So I can bring the kids and nephews and nieces.
There's an age on it. I think it's 12 and up on some of these, simply because we'll get into things that are going to be beyond younger people's understanding, or they might lose interest.
Perfect.
So 12 and up, I think, are on these classes.
Okay. Paul, we're going to talk with you about a little bit of the different classes. We usually have Jane Legault on, who wasn't able to make it today, but she always comes on and talks about some of these classes. But you're going to give a little bit more of an overview of the different types of classes.
Right. So this is our 7th spring extravaganza, and it's gone very nicely for us through the years. It's an opportunity for us to introduce some new coursework. Sometimes they develop into longer classes that we offer over a period of weeks. And it's a nice way for people to sample classes. And it's not just like a taste of something. You really get something substantive in each of the classes. So we have a wide range of classes, a lot of things oriented toward waking up your garden, getting ready to be outdoors, tuning up your bicycle, tuning up your lawnmower, doing some things like that to sort of get ready for the spring and summer season as the weather changes. We have some craft classes. I brought 2 examples of that. This is a mosaic stepping stone. It's pretty heavy, but glass mosaic, and it's a make and take class, and we have a number of those offered. And then I also brought along some needle felting.
I'm always amazed.
It really is phenomenal.
It really is.
And all of our instructors, including Steve, are really experts in their field. And so this isn't just a hobbyist kind of passing it on, but these are people who really know what they're doing, fortunately. And so we have a number of classes that deal with crafts of various kinds. You know, the needle felting is one that I've always been amazed at. My wife keeps collecting old sweaters and pulling apart the wool, and then you can transform it into needle felting. It's really phenomenal. So,
that's pretty fun.
This year we're also going to have a basic yoga class for folks who have never tried yoga, or people who have tried it but want to try some different moves. Nothing too strenuous. One of my favorites is always our Grilling 101 class, and we actually step right outside the building and set up some grills. And not only do I love that class because I like grilling and I love to learn new techniques in grilling, but it runs right up until the lunch hour, and then you get to eat. So what more could you want?
I know. If I'm in a grill and it's going to smell good,
That's
eating it sounds logical.
Yep. And we have some basic electrical wiring that we're offering this year. So if you're a homeowner and you want to do a quick repair on an outlet or put a cord back together for a lamp or something like that, this would be a great class for that as well. Let's see. Concrete Creations is kind of a fun class this year, and you'll actually do 3 different projects in that class, making garden stakes and leaf casting for either a feeding station or for a watering station, and doing some things out in the garden. And then we also have some electronic-oriented classes this year. So if you're working with Android devices, if you're working with an iPhone or an iPad, we have some basic classes to help folks who are just getting used to their device, maybe learn about some apps or some new ways to use it.
Sure.
And I often have people come in and say, oh, my grandchildren gave me this iPod and I don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
You know, or I got this iPad for Christmas and I don't know what to do with it. It's a great way to become introduced to that equipment,
Sure.
To begin to use it effectively.
So there's a huge range of classes, from hobbies, indoor to outdoor, to taking care of our machinery that is in our garage and has been for the last 6 or 7 months. When does this smorgasbord of learning happen?
It's scheduled on Saturday, April 22nd. Our classes run from 8 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon. And they're scheduled, some are an hour and a half long, some are as long as 4 hours. But it's possible to take up to 4 classes in the course of the day if you schedule yourself correctly, and we can help you with that, of course. And you can get all of that for one very low price.
Great, so I can take all of the classes and I get a lot of the materials
Right.
just for that one,
Right.
just for the one
Right.
price.
I do want to make it known that for some of the classes with materials, there is an extra fee for the particular class, so that
Well,
the make
sure.
and take does have a price. So.
Sure, and that only makes sense. So I can take all kinds of different classes during the day. My family can come. We can all take the classes that we're most interested in. So it really can be an everybody, kids 12 and up, right, kind of thing. So look forward to it. Again, it's April 22nd at Fox Valley Tech.
Right here in Waupaca. Right.
How does a person sign up for those?
Well, you can call us on the phone at 715-942-1700. We're happy to help you. You can actually go online to our webpage, and there's a submit button where you fill out your interest and your session interests. Hit submit, that comes to us, and then we'll work to fit you in and send out a confirmation. Or we have these lovely yellow brochures sitting around town in various locations, and inside there is an application form for the class, and all you have to do is fill that out and send that to us or drop it off.
And I can go on to Fox Valley and I can look at the different classes and I can do all of that. Good point, good question, Steve. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Steve, for being on today and letting us know. It's always good to see you guys. It's like I feel when we see you, like spring and warmer weather is
We're all
right around the
hoping for
corner.
that, aren't we?
I know. We'll get there.
We know that spring is around the corner now because it snowed on a robin's back 3 times now. So that's
okay.
the old wives' tale that it has to snow on a robin's back 3 times before it's spring. And that's happened now just this last week.
So does that mean we're not going to have any more snow?
That's why they call it an old wives' tale.
But you know what? That would be nice, though. And I do have some friends that have looked for. I've yet to see a robin in my
they've
yard
been around
this
for 2
spring.
weeks now.
So that's fabulous. I'm glad to hear that because I'm ready to be outside playing in the dirt. Terrific. Thanks for joining us for this episode of What's Happening Waupaca. I am Joni Kern, and we'll see you next time.